A leading Australian dermatologist is warning alcohol and sun can be a dangerous combination, causing skin to burn faster and lead to an increased risk of melanoma. To discuss this, joining me live is dermatologist Dr. Niyati Sharma. Good afternoon to you, Doctor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am well. Now tell us, what are the risks of alcohol and the sun on our skin?
Look, it's not new research, but it's research that I think we really need to put it out there as a public awareness, that alcohol actually reduces the natural occurring antioxidants in your skin and so increases the risk of DNA damage. And it also gets converted into skin to cause more photosensitivity. So you're actually likely to burn faster as a result of drinking alcohol in the sun. Now, the research shows that it's actually more than one standard drink increases your risk of a deadly melanoma skin cancer by about 20%.
I tell you what, there might be some concerned partygoers who have enjoyed the festive season a little bit too much, worried watching this. I also read that tattoos can prove an additional risk.
Look, it becomes a challenging thing for us as dermatologists for looking at people's moles, because if you can imagine, we need to spend a lot of time looking through a tattoo sleeve or within a tattoo for any moles, and it's obviously very hard to detect any changes within the tattoo itself. So overall, I think it can become quite dangerous, especially if there is an undetected melanoma within the tattoo.
Now, how often should we be getting our skin checked, and at what ages should we be starting?
So the data is limited, but in terms of if you're a high-risk individual, certainly with blue eyes, red hair, family history, so someone related to you has had a melanoma, you yourself have had one, I think it's really important to have a skin check as early as you can. But if you're in any other category, then the data is limited, but suggests maybe about 35 years and above. It's a really good idea to talk to your doctor or dermatologist or see a mole map and get your skin checked as early as possible.
We were only having this discussion in my family recently because I said I've been getting skin checks for the last few years just because I felt with the Australian sun, my fair skin and the like, that it was the right thing to do. But it seems to be that's not always the case for people. People aren't sure what to be looking out for or what puts them more at risk.
So what's really interesting is that 70% of patients pick up their own melanoma. So it's really important that if you see a mole and you're not sure if it's become larger in size, thicker, changed in colour, that you take a photo of it and review it every week on your smartphone. But it's really important that you get in and see someone who is a specialist in skin cancer management to see your mole and review it under a microscope to see if there's any evidence of skin cancer. To the best of ability, it's always good to do prevention better than cure, because unfortunately for some individuals, there isn't a cure for their skin cancer. So best to get there early, book in an appointment. If you can't find someone that's closest to you, I suggest booking online with MoleMap.
So changes can happen as quickly as days, a week, you were saying?
6 weeks, actually, we can see a mole changing. So it's best to get in the habit of reviewing your skin often. Most of my patients, I ask them to do it once a month when they come out of a shower. Of course, it's really hard to monitor any moles that have changed on your back, which is a very common place for skin cancer, especially in males. So it's really important that you do get a regular skin check from your health professional.
What is the melanoma rate here in Australia? We're preparing for another very hot summer. How do we compare with the rest of the world?
We have one of the highest rates of melanoma in the world for such a small country with 23 million people. I think New Zealand beats us by a little bit, but we expect 1 in 3 individuals to actually get a melanoma in their lifetime. So that's quite significant. And it often can cause quite a lot of mental stress, cosmetic issues with disfiguring surgeries. So it can be quite stressful overall. So I think it's really important that if you are worried, and if you're not even sure if a mole's changed, it's still a good idea to get regular skin checks at least once a year, and especially earlier the better if you're in a high-risk group.
Are you finding that more people are listening, are taking note. We have much more open discussions about this now and the risks now than I recall when I was much younger. Are you noticing that people are listening?
So yes and no. So we've definitely seen that the incidence, so the likelihood of you getting a skin cancer, has definitely reduced in the 45 to 55-year-old age group, because that's when the Sun Smart campaign came about in the 1980s. But what we're finding is another peak in the younger individuals, because they are not listening to the public health messages, not applying sunscreen, seeking shade, or getting the regular skin checks. I think there's definitely a rise in melanoma incidence in the younger age group. Not so much as we would imagine 20 years ago, but certainly there has been a slight increase in the rates.
Well, Dr. Sharma, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We appreciate your insight. You take care and have a great Christmas.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.